This is about our love affair with chili.
I have so many regrets.
Chili is an exciting kick to my food. Not hot, not worth eating.
Es un amor, como decimos, apache, porque lo amamos, pero no podemos vivir sin él, pero nos peleamos porque pica.
I'm Kevin, a self-taught private chef, photographer, creative director.
And everyone knows I love my chili.
Over the next few weeks, I'm on a journey of discovery.
Inside is hotter.
Let me try.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Where is the water?
As I find out more about my roots, I'm going to come up with a new chili recipe.
This is really nice.
And I will share what I've learned with the people I've met along the way.
Well, I was born and bred in Fiji. My parents are actually from Canton, China, so I'm basically Cantonese. For my journey to be complete, it has to come full circle. It's time now to explore my own heritage and identity.
Before I met Lin, I've known of her through her practice of martial arts. She does Hong Ga Kyun, which was made famous by Wong Fei Hung, a Chinese martial arts exponent.
Hi, Lin.
Hey, Kevin. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Oh,
you.
you know
Great to
gesture
finally
too.
meet you.
Ah, nice to meet you. If you want to do the stance that Hong Fei Hong does, your weight's at the back so that this front leg can just tiptoe.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Cross our leg.
When I was much younger, I practiced a soft martial arts, which is made famous by Ip Man.
So I was interested in meeting Lin because I heard that she is a heritage researcher.
One of her research areas was Cantonese culture, history, particularly from the Guangdong region, Shun Tak, which is very near where my family was from.
So talking about Sunde, there's a group of ladies, they come from Sunde, and they're called Ma-zes. Ma-ze is mother's sister, as a direct translation, and they are generally domestic helpers. You've seen them in like the white samfu and black pants.
Yep.
The Majes came from northeast China nearly a century ago and worked as overseas domestic helpers.
So Sunde is a very important region in Canton that's involved in the silk industry. And many of these people who were involved were the women, and especially the unmarried women. So when the Great Depression happened, a lot of these women went overseas to find better futures. So look at this place. Can you imagine? There's a small enclosed area, but it could live like a family of 8 to 10.
Wow.
The Sunde women are very interesting because of their socio-economic status. They tend to have the mentality that they need to be independent.
Lin brought me to a temple in Gyeongsek Street where the Majes lived before being sent to their respective families.
A lot of these women, they came along not just as a community. They brought along their crafts, they brought along their traditions, as well as their cuisines. Generally, people think that Cantonese people do not eat spicy food.
Yeah, exactly.
But as I was studying this group of community, they have a particular interesting dish that is spicy.
So Lin introduced me to Wilfred, who's actually a Lao Shi or teacher in Cantonese opera. Now, I have a lot of special connection to Cantonese opera because my parents love Cantonese opera. The amazing thing about Wilfred is that he's the only protege or student in Singapore of Hong Xin Nui, who is the legend in Cantonese operas. We even indulged ourselves in a bit of conversation in the Hang Hawa, which is the Cantonese provincial dialect, which is always fun and always nice and refreshing for me to hear.
So Kevin, you're in luck because my teacher, his ancestry is from Sun Tak.
Oh, Sun Tak,
And
great.
Sun Tak is a UNESCO gastronomy site.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
There's such things as called chili cake,
Chili cake.
bang. Yes,
Lachio bang,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's very tasty. You can use it for steamed pork rib, and then you can use this as a dip for hot pot. Yeah.
So can I find this Sun Tak chili cake in Singapore?
Unfortunately, no. In the earlier days, yes, we can buy it from Chinatown, but these days I don't see them selling.
To get to the bottom of this recipe, Wilfred kindly offered to call his auntie in Sun Tak and get the recipe from the source.
嬸啊，食飽未啊？
食咗飯啦，你食咗未啊？
食咗咯。啊，啲細嘅咧，返學啊？
隨嘅門口食蔗啊！
哇，咁好玩嘅！我而家一陣咧，想問你，你上一次俾我啲辣椒餅咧，問你想點整？咧我呢個朋友咧
Hello， 阿嬸你好。
佢都係想學點整。
一斤紫酸椒就一斤豆豉。
So lachio bang or chili biscuit has three main ingredients. Chili, of course, the most essential. Fermented black bean, tausi, which is a very Cantonese ingredient, and then garlic. So all these three are ground down, and mixed into like a paste. And then molded into little biscuits or cakelets, and then dried over an extended period of time.
Used as a cooking condiment rather than an ingredient by itself, lachio bang or chili biscuits was an important condiment brought over by the Majes. The drying, fermentation and mix of black beans, which were readily available, provided them with a source of protein that is tasty and can keep for long durations.
I guess the final surprising takeaway is that the Majes, they've given a lot to Singapore, the families, the history. And today they've given me an iconic recipe for lachio bang, a chili biscuit, which I never knew existed.
In my next story, I explore a source of heat from my Fijian roots that will totally change the flavor profile in my cooking.
Today we're gonna check on something that took months to fruit. How many fruits?
Many fruits.
Many. Wow. The Chinese came to Singapore from all over southern China many centuries ago, and they brought along their culture, dialects, and cuisines.
Chili was not native in China, and it was only brought to China during the 15th to 16th century through the Silk Road. It's very interesting how in the northern part, the chili tend to be very strong in flavor, whereas in the southern regions, the emphasis of chili is really used very sparingly. So our forefathers mainly came from the southern part of China. So in the Fujian province, we have the Hokkiens, the Fujonese, and also in the Guangdong province, we will have the Teochews, the Cantonese, as well as a lot of the Hakkas. So we are very, very diverse.
I embarked on this journey to make a brand new chili, something that shows my roots as well as the influences and passions of the people I've met. And some of the ingredients I've encountered will change the way I look at what we have.
So the idea of provenance, where the food comes from, is something that is very close to my heart, or I think a lot about. Many of the people that I've met throughout the journey so far are doing that as well. And I'm inspired to incorporate that in whatever I'm going to do. I went foraging with Esmond before, so I asked him, was there an ingredient that is off the land that we could pluck? And he took me to Uncle Tan's herb garden.
Uncle Tan is a passionate farmer who still grows ingredients that are somewhat lost in time.
So luckily for you, Uncle Tan has some belimbing trees in his garden.
They look like little papayas.
Yeah, they do. So they are just about coming into season.
Okay, what's the taste? What's the flavor?
Okay, so these are sour.
Yep.
So typically in Malay cuisine, we've got three things that give us sour flavor.
Okay.
So we've got tamarind,
Yep.
we've got asam keping, little slices,
Yeah.
And then we've got this belimbing. So typically for belimbing, it's sour, juicy. Usually we use it for asam pedas.
Yep.
However, I've seen people also juice it as a sort of lemonade drink, a sour drink.
Known sometimes as the bilimbi or cucumber tree, the belimbing belongs to the same family as the starfruit. This tangy sour fruit is also used in traditional Malay medicine. It's believed to be able to treat illnesses for hypertension and diabetes. Back in the day, belimbing plants were wild and rampant. You could find them everywhere, pretty much by the road or in the jungle or whatnot in Singapore. But these days, it's rarer to actually find a nice, healthy, fruiting belimbing plant. It's an interesting note to have a little sourness or citrusy sort of sourness to a dish because it changes the flavor. Bula, you want some more? Bula, good bird. Aside from using ingredients in Singapore or from the region, I've always wanted to use ingredients from Fiji, where I was born. The one important thing that I really wanted was the chili that is native to Fiji. It's called the Fiji bongo chili. I successfully grew seedlings from the seeds that I actually planted, but I knew that in order for it to fruit, I had to move it out of my apartment. So I actually handed it over to my father-in-law, who was an avid gardener himself and had a little community garden where he lived. So today we're going to check on something that took months to fruit. A lot of effort, a lot of time. Wow. How many fruits now?
Many fruits.
Many. Oh, and the size quite big, huh?
This is your lucky day. Look, here's one.
Oh, wow.
That is right.
How did I actually miss that? This is so red and ripe.
Native to the Fiji Islands, the bongo chili is of the habanero chili family and is known to fruit 3 to 4 times per year. Typically, the Fiji bongo chili's heat scale is about 300,000 Scoville units. That's 3 times hotter than the average chili party. So today is a special day, actually the next stage in this plant life journey. My father-in-law has actually done such a great job in growing this plant that it's actually grown so happily and big that it's become root bound now, meaning that it's become too big for this pot.
Okay, I think this is deep enough. Just put it around here.
Okay. So basically we had to cut open the pot that the plant was in, lift the whole plant with all its roots and plant it in Singapore soil. It's almost a metaphor for me, a Fiji boy from land afar, planting my own roots in Singapore soil as well.
There are so many people and places along my journey to draw inspiration from. And now is the time to weave it all together into one final celebration. Throughout this series, I set out to understand our love affair with chili. It's been a spectacular journey. Now it's time to give something back to the people I've met, and I'm scouring the island for the best ingredients.
The first dish for my guest today is a classic Cantonese dish. It's a steamed chicken dish with lily flower, but the special ingredient is shuntak chili biscuits. My second main dish Singapore is well known for, crab and chili. But my dish uses a special chili, one that took 8 months to grow. First, of course, you need the crab. Good size, good claws, good meat. Second is my Fiji bongo chilies. I added a little bit of a special ingredient, which is a Peruvian yellow habanero paste. Now, the technique of actually cooking this dish is a simple stir fry in a wok before adding the fresh Fiji bongo chili whole. It's a technique that I borrowed from the Tanzanian family that I met. I decided to make my new chili a sambal. So for my new chili, I want to combine the ingredients from Southeast Asia and something from my Cantonese background. So there are 3 key ingredients. The first one is kampong chili padi. So the next thing I'm going to use is belimbing, a classic ingredient used in local cuisine. So the last key ingredient I'm going to use is actually something from my Cantonese background, Cantonese salted fish. They call this mui hang yu. So I guess I could call this new chili sambal ham yu.
For my final reveal, I have invited friends from previous episodes. Esmond the Forager, Wendy the chili-loving Tanzanian Singaporean, and Tanya, an Indian Peranakan from the Chitty Malaccan community.
Okay, so I hope you guys are hungry.
Absolutely, yes.
I guess one of the main reasons for me taking on all this journey and meeting everyone here, a new chili that I made. So this is what I call sambal ham yu. So this chili is combining, I guess, the best of Southeast Asia and Singapore, the sambal and the ingredients. Okay, please dig in.
Okay.
There is no elegant way to do this, I think.
Like what we were saying just now, it's nice on its own with the rice. And I like the heat level is just nice.
So this is like my dish, my kind of dish.
Wow.
It is like all the flavors that I love the most. It's the kind of dish that, you know, you got to be living here for generations and you enjoy this kind of heavy, seafaring, seafood eating, you know, community, I feel.
That is the perfect compliment, or more than I could expect from anyone tasting this chili of mine. If some of you might remember, I met Kronos from Tom's Palette back in a previous episode, and I gave him a challenge, make a dessert out of my chili. And finally he delivered. Okay guys, it ain't over yet. I have one more surprise.
Nice.
Yeah. So what I have here is an ice cream inspired by a chili that I make. Yeah. So what he's tried to do here is recreate
the experience of eating the chili rather than like a direct sort of translation of the chili itself. He's called this cold burn, which I think is a really cool name. It took a second bite to truly understand what Kronos was trying to do. The crunch, the little bit of mass sensation from the little bit of Sichuan pepper I added in.
I have never had ice cream that kicks a bit.
Yeah.
So this is so amazing. I can pick up the sourness. I feel as if it's a spicy, salted caramel. Wonderfully creamy, very lemak.
It's actually a really nice ice cream. Like,
Yeah.
I would actually buy this and eat it at home.
Somehow he was able to recreate all these hints in the cold burn ice cream. So I think Kronos is truly an artist. I've met so many people, had so many encounters, tasted so many different dishes from so many different cultures. There's much to learn, there's much to talk about. And if I had to summarize all this into one succinct point, one thought that comes to mind is seek and you shall find. If you're curious enough, that will drive you to go out there, meet people, discover new things, encounter new cultures, and through that process, the answers will reveal themselves.